that list? Quite a few people, including Jazz center Rudy Gobert, who, according to our Bobby Marks, would have earned a $1 million bonus had he been selected. He was visibly distraught about the snub.
Defense wins championships, not all-stars.
My mom called me crying. It was tough, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's always going to be that way.
So obviously we live in a world where that reaches social media, and then there's a reaction. Two Warriors, Draymond and Iggy, both criticizing the Jazz center. In fairness, Gobert is 4th in the league in blocks, 5th in rebounds. But let me ask you this. I would have to imagine, and maybe they don't care, that they didn't hear the entire context of the emotion, and maybe that tweet wouldn't have gone out, or they probably didn't care either way. Just the crying.
I think that we live in a society where men sometimes aren't allowed to show emotion. And when it happens, it makes other people feel like they're not being strong. It makes other people feel like they're not being tough. And he cares about this game. And for me, as a guy that watches him perform on a nightly basis, I appreciate the fact that he cares so much about a meaningless game. It ain't about the $1 million. He wants to be amongst his peers and looked at as an elite.
No, but I'm saying, hold on. He would have got $1 million if he made the All-Star team. That was about the money. Come on now. Come on now. Let's be real.
Hold on.
Come on now. He's not mad about the All-Star. That was about that extra. That was about that extra milli. That's what he was crying about.
Come on.
Come on.
We sat and did this. You and I did this the other day. We came out with a bunch of people in the West that you wanted to have on the All-Star team. And I'm sure coaches found it just as difficult. And they couldn't go. He has a teammate.
Think about this.
Who deserves to be on the All-Star team, too, and is not.
Neither one.
If we go by what we said, pick the best. What are our motto?
Forget East and West.
Forget East and West. Vote for the best.
I got you.
You have Donovan Mitchell in that game instead of a Russell. You know what I'm saying? You have guys who probably are more deserving in that game. So I just say let's go away from the East-West concept of picking.
You think Utah will do something having seen this? Because I think that reaction must have played well in the whole state, right? I mean, is that the kind of team, kind of club, franchise that'll cut them off something? And say, look, we know you may not have earned $1 million. That just happened.
No, but can I say this? Because obviously American men are not allowed to show emotion, and he is obviously not an American man where you are allowed to embrace your emotion, you're allowed to be in touch with your feelings. I know I'm getting a little hokey here, and then he started to talk about his mom, and I would imagine the conversation with his mom on the phone was also highly emotional, and, you know, I hope Iggy and Draymond saw that and thought, oh, man, maybe it wasn't something to make fun of.
But it's always a tough juggle between stats and winning. That's always the balance when you're trying to choose the All-Star team.
I had $1 million on the line.
Come on. He'll be fine.
Right there. Best
he should be in.
Players.
He should be in. Yes or no?
He should be an All-Star. But that's why Utah ought to cut him off. The Jazz ought to break him off something. Can you give him $250?
Oh, my God.
No. Did he have enough? Is he? Do we agree he's having an All-Star?
Yes.
Yes, I think just off the top of my head, I think the West should have had 14 players and the East should have had 10.
Yep. Good, yeah? We all agree? All right, make it happen. Oh, just kidding. I wish it was that easy.
East and West. Vote for the best.
He was back at work, though. He did have some work to do tonight. Hawks taking on Gobert and the Jazz.
This is what I want to see, the response.
In the first quarter, Jazz leading by 5.
We bully somebody.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here's your response.
Yes.
Oh, and one.
Uh-oh. Later in the first, Hawks down 6. Trae Young.
Trae Young getting hot.
No, say it ain't so. Trae Young.
I'm with you, Trae.
He's a Wagers MVP. Less than a minute remaining. Ingles to Crowder, wide open 3. That one is close. Hawks barely up. Heading in to halftime. Grizzlies, Hornets, fourth quarter. We're talking about this guy, Tony Parker to Malik Monk.
Malik Monk has bounced. Looking like Ja Morant.
Tony Parker look like he can give you a few more years.
It like he can help somebody who's in a playoff situation right now. Yeah.
Later on in the 4, tied at 90-piece, Kemba Walker finds Marvin Williams, buries the 3.
Charlotte, enjoy Kemba while you can.
Why you gotta be like that?
Enjoy Kemba while you can.
Why you gotta be like that? Time to go courtside for Rockets, Nuggets. 2 games against the Nuggets. Harden's playing distributor a little more, averaging only 27, but over 12 assists a game. Do you expect the same sort of attack tonight?
I do. And the thing that's great about James Harden, as you look at his statistics, is that people don't give him credit for his durability. It's one thing to get to the free throw line. It's another thing to take the physical pounding, driving to the basket. And for him to continue to be able to do that while making three-point shots, it's truly been outstanding.
Jokic, we mentioned the 6 triple-doubles in the month of January. But if you need to be reminded, it's the most since Wilt by a 7-footer. Would you rather have him or Harden as your focal point of your offense?
Come on now, James Harden or Jokic, he hasn't arrived yet. He's just now jumping on the scene. James Harden's been on the scene. Let's show some respect to the beard. Everybody's like these new toys they get, but they forgot the old toys.
Some new toys
been popping. Joker, he's on his way, but he's no Harden. I'm starting off with Harden, but hey, he's having a great year, All-Star, well-deserving, and Denver could be in the Western Conference Finals.
Here we go. We're going to start naming all the West teams. Third game back for Mr. Chris Paul. What do you need to see from him tonight as far as getting back together with Harden?
Just continuing to knock the rust off. Look, somebody asked me recently whether I would take James Harden or I'm not sure who the other player was. Maybe it was Antetokounmpo. And I said, if you can promise me that Chris Paul is going to be healthy throughout the playoffs, I'll take James Harden. James Harden is the best player on that team. There's no question. Chris Paul is the most important player on that team and the clutch player on that team. And that's why when he went down last year, they could not finish off that series with Golden State because Chris Paul wasn't out there.
Paul's favorite guy, Will Barton.
Favorite player,
he started the last 4 with no Jamal Murray. What does he bring that was missing when he was gone?
We love Will Barton, and we talk a lot about him when we're watching the games because he plays unorthodox. He's herky-jerky, and/or as we like to call it, respectfully, janky. And the thing about him, he's a fearless player. He continues to attack regardless of the situation. Now that he's back healthy, he's a major X-factor.
You'd have him in the starting lineup, would you not?
Absolutely.
Paul, how about Kenneth Reed? 3 double-doubles in his last 3 games. Are you surprised?
I'm very surprised because I haven't had a chance to see him. He was on the bench. But, you know, he's delivered. I mean, he's bringing them everything they asked for, energy, defense, a lob threat. He's doing everything that Clint Capella gave them. So it'll be interesting to see how much his minutes go down when Clint comes back, you know, because he needs to be in a rotation.
Michael Wilbon, Chauncey Billups will have the call on this game tonight. Do you have any expectations there?
Chauncey?
Yes, I love hearing him. Chauncey, stay right there. I got your chair. I'm holding it down.
There you go. There you go. I just want to see what you say.
We upgraded your chair, Chauncey.
Rockets Nuggets coming up next.
Put some class in the chair.
We'll see y'all at the half. Right now, we'll send it out to Ryan
Chauncey.
Rucco and Chauncey Billups with the call.
At least he gets to stay at the crib.
Woo, it's Friday. Welcome inside Studio H here in LA with Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose, Paul Pierce. My name is Michelle Beadle, and so anything happening in the league lately, you guys?
The league is on fire right now.
Dominating. This, I don't know if you can decide who the most interesting team of the last 24 hours would be. You could say the Knicks. You could maybe now say it's the Celtics. Plenty to say before those teams play at the bottom of the hour. And then we have Rockets Nuggets late, but 29 minutes. Let's get this thing started. First up, before the world was done going bonkers over the Knicks trade of the unicorn, Porzingis to Dallas, impending Celtics free agent Kyrie Irving rattled the foundations of the league this morning. Some aggressive vagueness about his very own future.
I mean, well, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I feel is best for my career. And, you know, that's just where it stands. And my focus this season is winning a championship with the Boston Celtics. You know, obviously we had goals coming into the season, and the primary goal is to win championships. So that's where my focus is.
Has your mindset shifted, though, in regards to re-signing with Boston, like the announcement?
Ask me July 1st. Obviously, you know, things this season haven't gone as I planned. You know, and that's part of being on a team where you're still trying to figure things out. But at the end of the day, like I said, I spent the last 8 years trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do in terms of making my decisions and trying to validate through the media, through other personnel, managers, anybody in this business, and I don't owe anybody.
Woo, if that ain't a mantra. So there's a lot of drama, obviously, turned up to 11 by Kyrie. We have to welcome in the man, Woj. As far as the Celtics' reaction to just that little piece of sound, what do you have?
Listen, all of this has made people in that organization uneasy, and it's playing out in public now. But they've been talking with Kyrie Irving about, you know, this team has underachieved, and the organization's frustrated with it, and they know Kyrie Irving is frustrated with it. And, the focus for the Celtics is to certainly, especially as far as Irving's future is concerned, is to get as much out of this season and this group as they can, to get back on track as a contender in the East, make as deep of a run in the playoffs as they can, and then have a roster as deep and talented as possible come around draft time when they've got decisions to make in trades. And they know that more than any other player they've pursued in recent years, they really need to get Anthony Davis. And as much as anything, that will help solidify Kyrie Irving's future. Boston still feels confident, and Kyrie Irving has given them no direct reason in their conversations to think that he's going to leave. But Boston's not taking this for granted, and especially the way now Kyrie could have shut this down today, and he opened it all back up.
Yes, and for that we are grateful. Woj, don't go anywhere. I know we're going to come back to you for some Anthony Davis talk, but sticking with the Celtics and you guys up here, you're Danny Ainge, you're listening to this, you're watching the Anthony Davis stuff, you're watching everything happen. What do?
I'm calling up Kyrie for a private conversation.
Okay.
And if I don't feel exactly the way I need to feel, I start making some other calls. I mean, I totally agree with Kyrie when he says he didn't know anybody anything. But the Celtics don't owe him anything either. It's a two-way business. And everybody talks about it as a business. They act like it's only on their side. And so it's just interesting when Kyrie talks about this. So now, first of all, it throws some leverage back toward the Lakers when you talk about the Pelicans trade.
Yep.
The Knicks feel hope, and God knows they don't feel hope very often, but they're hopeful now with a treasure chest and all these free agents out there. They think that's going to be different from 2010. They're going to get somebody. So it puts a lot of things in play that, as Woj said, would not have been in play depending on his answer. As we look at Paul.
Mr. Celtic, what say you?
This is a chess game. I don't do anything but be patient
and
see what happens. Listen, they have a championship team. I know it's not playing out that way, but this team could easily go to the finals and possibly win it this year. Let's say that happens. Then what? Do you leave that situation? I'm standing pat with Kyrie. Let's see how we do in the playoffs at the end of the year, see where we're at. We have the assets. We have him. Anything can happen. That's what I'm doing right there.
But Danny's got to prepare.
I'm not making a move.
Right, Paul? Danny, you got to be ready.
You can't panic before the trade deadline. He says something. It's a chess game. No, we're going to stay patient, see how this plays out.
This team has underachieved. They made it to the conference finals without Kyrie Irving. They're a 5th seed with Kyrie Irving. And I've said this the entire season. The team and Brad Stevens had to decide. Are they going to turn the team over to Kyrie and allow him to play his way, which is 25 points, 5 assists, or are they going to play ball movement, player movement type of basketball? That's the frustration. So, therefore, if I'm the Celtics and I bring him in the office and I don't like what's said in the conversation, I'm looking to move him.
That's a panic move.
I'm glad you said that.
That ain't a panic move because I have assets. I'm the Boston Celtics. I can have 4 first-round picks this season, and I have
nobody
great
you
young
can
players.
get for Kyrie right now.
Well,
there's no great trade for him right now that you'll be happy with.
We're going to tee Woj off of Paul. I don't even know what we're going to tee him up for, so go ahead and talk about that. Woj, are you still there? There he is.
This may not be about one conversation with Kyrie Irving because they've been talking, and he talks with Danny Ainge, and it's been an ongoing conversation, and this wasn't news to them that he's frustrated. And so I do think the lines of communication with management, with ownership, they're wide open with Kyrie Irving in this organization.
Okay, so that's a plus because we're starting to make it seem like it's adversarial. But I want to go about 3 hours south and west of this because as of yesterday around lunchtime, the Celtics' opponent tonight, the Knicks, they were going to enter the summer with a top draft pick, a max level salary available, and a unicorn. But today, that Porzingis is now a Dallas Maverick. The Knicks will enter the summer with Dennis Smith Jr., a top draft pick, and enough cap room to drive 2 trucks full of money through. This just sort of got people out of nowhere a little bit. And Jalen, I'll start with you. Who won?
Congratulations, New York Knickerbockers. They're relevant again. And it's been baffling to me to see so many people feel like the New York Knicks got fleeced. They won. Okay, for those who haven't been paying attention, Dennis Smith Jr. can play basketball in himself, just him. He can ball. They have their lottery pick this year, which could be the #1 overall pick. They got 2 first-round picks. Did you say they get 2 max spots?
Yeah, it's
two max spots?
Yeah.
Okay, you cannot tell me, Michael Wilbon, that 2 of those guys ain't going to end up in New York. And for those that feel it's a failure if you don't get KD. The last time I checked, if you're a great player in the East, you can lead your team to the playoffs. The Knicks need a face of franchise, an all-star level player, and that list right there is going to be one of the guys in New York.
Jalen, I agree with you.
Well, even if they get, what's the success? What they can be happy for if they get one of these guys? They get Chris Middleton, they're happy.
They can go bigger game hunting probably than Chris Middleton. But, Paul, here's the thing. This is where I agree with Jalen. One, they've created some flexibility. The Knicks never have flexibility. So let's say they don't get through free agency exactly who they want. KD, Kyrie, KD, Boogie. They can make trades, which they have not been able to do successfully because they don't, again, have flexibility. And I think trades, draft, there are three ways to acquire players. And then the Knicks' old culture, which was failed, they just threw bad money after bad money, and this is what the new regime is not doing now or not planning to do anyway.
I know it all sounds good, but the New York has not been a great free agent destination. I mean, think about this. Who has been the last great free agent? Amari Stoudemire. They traded for Carmelo Anthony, so it's not like it's a big market thing. They struck out on LeBron. The last time they was in this position, they struck out on LeBron. So it's no guarantee just because they free up the space and do all this that they're going to get that player they want. Because to me, even if you get two of these free agents out there, if you get Kyrie and a Middleton, to me, you still struck out.
No, you didn't.
No,
because what are you aiming for?
I'm going to tell you what they're
aiming for the Knicks.
I'm going to tell you what they're
just to be in the playoffs?
The Knicks ain't in the playoffs this year, and they don't have all-star level players on their team. Kristaps Porzingis
You strike out because you signed them two guys to max?
Well, but Paul, remember, they could also draft, let's not even say first. They have their own lottery. They have their own pick, which we know is in the lottery.
Right.
Even if they draft second or third, you're talking about a massive upgrade from where the Knicks are now. Are they in serious contention? No, you're right about that. But, we can't go all or nothing. The Knicks need to make a middle stop, perhaps. But Kevin Durant, if you listen to the buzz right now.
Exactly.
Right now, not just on the East Coast, but I've been talking to club executives all week and agents, and I'm shocked by the number of people. And again, it's way early. Pump the brakes a little bit. But I'm shocked, Paul, by the number of people who think that Kevin Durant is in play for the New York Knicks.
Does that change your mind?
This is one big gamble. This is one big gamble. That's all. You putting all your eggs on landing one of these guys. You have a guy who you can build around. You got to Kristaps Porzingis.
He didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
And that goes to show you right there who wants to be in New York then.
Okay, wait, hold on.
If he don't want to be in New York, why would these guys want to be in New York?
He's been unhappy in New York from the beginning. With a different
But they just got a new coach.
If you're the Knicks, you can't give him a max contract this offseason coming off a knee injury. And Kristaps Porzingis is a terrific talent. He's going to be amazing with Luka Doncic in Dallas. However, in New York City, he wasn't an all-star. He didn't lead them to the playoffs.
He wasn't even supporting his teammates lately. They wonder why he wasn't at practice, why he wasn't
on
around
one
the
big
team,
question mark. It's a big gamble.
Life is a big question and a gamble,
I mean,
Paul.
The Clippers,
but you know it's not.
Nets, Clippers,
Sunday.
Nets.
ABC NBA Sunday Showcase Game of the Week returns special 2 Eastern. Kyrie and the Celtics hosting Russell Westbrook and the Thunder. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 1:30 Eastern, and as always, you could watch everything on the app. Terry Rozier, here we go. Loaded with talent. What? I mean, it is.
That's what he's listening to right now. The song is saying, trade Kyrie. I got this.
What must they be thinking? Coming up, Anthony Davis thought talking about a trade request wouldn't get in the media. That's all we've been talking about. Woj will be back next.